Budget and Finance. Gerard?
I'd like to make a motion to accept, subject to audit, the consolidated expenditure report for the month of October 2010, totaling $143,898.49.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Put your microphone down.
I'd like to make a motion to pay down the unfunded liability of $43,899 for the Newtown Borough pension plans over the next 5 years, to be accomplished by paying $8,500 into the plan in 2010 and $8,224 in 2011 through 2014.
You have a second?
Wasn't this already?
We had to correct the face amount. I'll second. It was two.
Yeah. Okay. So we took it off the table and we put it back on. Right?
I'll second it.
You seconded it. Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Budget.
Budget.
Bob, do you want to kick this off? You want me to kick it off?
Yeah.
Want me to do it? All right. Well, hopefully this won't be too long of a discussion, but I think there's some, as we discussed at our work session last Wednesday, a couple unusual things about the budget this year that is important to discuss. And we need to make a decision tonight. So just to explain where we are in the process of the budget, we have before us a preliminary budget that we are going to vote tonight to advertise, and then in December we will vote to accept that budget. Also, we will be voting tonight to advertise the ordinance setting the tax rate for the year 2011. All the tax rates associated with the borough. So the tax rate, the earned income tax, realty transfer tax, and local services tax. And also we will be voting on the tax ordinance fixing salaries also tonight. So tonight we advertise, we authorize the advertising of those things, and then in December we will be voting to accept those. And sort of picking up from our discussion on last Wednesday evening, wanted to put some context around the unusual things that we have to discuss tonight. And actually tonight there's two sets of documents in front of you. We have been discussing two scenarios for the budget for 2011. I believe you all got a copy of this in your boxes today. And there are two, so there's just to orient us all, there's a summary sheet of the proposed 2011 budget, and then there's the 4-page summary budget that will be posted online and made available to the public following this meeting. And we have two sets of these because there's two different scenarios that we're going to be discussing tonight and deciding upon one. I think two unusual things that we're going to discuss tonight and potentially will be, one or both of those will be in this budget, are a little bit different for the borough this year. One is a proposal to be tapping into one of our funds called the Operating Reserve Fund. And I'll explain why I think we have made the case for why we need to do that. The second one is a discussion on whether or not we are going to increase our millage, the tax rate, the real estate tax rate for the borough by 2 mills. And so the two scenarios are really different by, they both include the utilization of funds from the operating reserve fund, and they differ by one has a millage increase and one does not have a millage increase. And for the audience sake, our discussion at our work session and actually all along, we've been, and we had a presentation in September about our current state of our budget and where we spend our money, and put some context around it. You know, since really for the past few years, the Finance Committee has been noticing a trend of generally flat revenue, while expenses, although with good fiscal discipline by this board, still tended to rise. So salaries would increase, health insurance, you know, other expenses would increase. So that's been the situation, and as you know, even with your own budgets, if your income doesn't rise, but your bills keep rising, at some point those two will meet, and it won't be a sustainable situation after that. And that's really the situation that we're seeing now and we're facing moving forward. And it's a situation that's not unique to Newtown Borough. You see it in the paper. Many municipalities are facing similar situations. It's because of the economy, and over the past few years, our real estate transfer taxes have been down. Our earned income taxes have been relatively flat. So, you know, the two options that we're going to be discussing as a board here tonight reflect two different ways of maybe approaching the situation we're in. I just want to remind folks that the presentation that we gave in September really highlighted the main areas of how we spend our money. And we spend our money, you know, about 50% or so on public safety. Our police department takes up a large portion of our expenditures. We also fix our roads and make sure that the roads are safe for travel. We also spend money on planning and our historic architecture to make sure that the borough has the sense of place that we enjoy. We also spend some money running the government as well. But predominantly, we do spend a fair amount of money on the police department, roads, and when I say roads, that includes snowfall. And snow removal, lots of it, Bob, yeah. The main areas that we talk about for revenue, so where does the borough get the revenue from? Well, our earned income tax and the whole Act 511 taxes, so earned income tax, the real estate transfer tax, the local services tax, makes up about 66% of the revenues coming into the borough. The real estate tax that we are controlling of really is a pretty small part of the overall revenue that comes into the borough. About 13% of our revenue comes from that real estate tax. And I know the councilors have the Pat put in some context in around the millage that we do enjoy, and I think they're going to talk through it when we talk through the scenarios. But it is a relatively small portion of the income that comes in. You know, we're going to be discussing tonight, and I think this discussion is going to go on next year as well. You know, the three legs of that stool I talked about: the revenue side, which includes tax policy; expense side, which includes how generally our cost structure is; and the operating reserve fund and how we use that fund. What's it for? Our policy for use and our policy for building it up again. So with that,